Hello there, it's Mr. Logue again. I thought we could have a little bit more practice calculating the mean. Here are some groups from a World Cup tournament. And as you can see, what's shown in the chart is each group and the amount of goals each team in each group scored. And the little question there is, what is the mean amount of goals scored in each group? Let's have a look just at Group A to begin with. Okay, so here we have Group A. Now, if we remember our steps for calculating the mean, the first step is to add up all of the numbers. And the numbers in this particular activity are going to be those goals. So we're going to have to add up all of them. So Brazil's goals, Mexico's goals, Croatia's goals, and Cameroon's goals. That's step one. And step two will be to divide those goals by the amount of teams there are, or the amount of numbers we've added together. And as you can see, there are 4 countries there, so it'll be dividing by 4. If you'd like to have a go at that on your own, pause the video now. I'm going to swap to the visualizer and we can solve this one together. Right, so I've put a little A there for Group A, and we're going to write down the number of goals each team scored. Brazil, you should remember, scored 7. Mexico, if I'm remembering rightly, scored 4. Croatia scored 6. And Cameroon scored 1. And step 1 for calculating the mean amount of goals scored in that group is to add all of these together. 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 6 is 17, plus 1 is 18. So that's step 1 completed. Step 2 for calculating the mean is to divide this total by the amount of numbers we added up. And as you remember, we added 4 numbers together, so that means step 2 will be 18 divided by 4. Now I know from my 4 times table that that's not going to be a whole number as an answer. We're going to have a remainder. But that doesn't matter, because what we can do is we can say how many times 4 goes into 18. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. So that means 18 divided by 4 is 4. But because that's 16 times, and this is 18, we have 2 left over. So 2 would be the remainder. But we're going to show this as a fraction. And the way we can do this is the number we're dividing by is 4. That number will become our denominator. If we're dividing by 4, the denominator on the fraction, if we have a fraction in the answer, will always be the same, 4. The same as dividing by, if we were dividing by 3, the denominator would be 3. If we're dividing by 6, the denominator would be 6. 4 and 2 quarters. And you may know from your simplifying fractions that 2 quarters is equivalent to 1/2. So the mean amount of goals scored in Group A, 4 and 1/2 goals per team. Now it's your turn to have a go. I'm going to go through each of the groups and then there'll be answer slides after a few of them. So pause the video each time you get to a new group and have a go at finding the mean amount of goals scored in each group. So pause for B now. I'm going to move on to C. Pause for C now. I'm now going to put up the answers to groups A, B, and C. Moving on to group D. Pause now so you can solve it. I'm now moving on to group E. Now moving on to group F. Pause the video now. I'm now going to move on to the answers for the mean for groups D, E and F. Okay, and moving on to group G. Find the mean amount of goals scored in group G. Pause the video now so you can do that. And finally moving on to group H. Here come the answers for groups G and H. How did you do? Hopefully you've done well on this activity. Here's your next step, calculating the mean. So you need to generate your own data. You could do goals or something to do with sport. I had this idea that you could see how many star jumps 4 different people could do in 10 seconds, and you write down the number and then find the mean amount of star jumps done by those 4 people. Alternatively, you could get just one person, or you yourself could do star jumps for 10 seconds 4 different times and write down the amount. If you've got a different number of people, just remember that when you're dividing by that number, you're not dividing by 4. Right, hopefully you found this video useful. Bye for now.